Comenius Plants Praefatio pro Oimion, the flower in mythology. Theophrastus was a philosopher-scientist, and we've looked at his treatment of the flower accordingly. But for Theophrastus and the pagan Greeks, flowers had some fabulous associations, and it would be a shame to consider flowers in ancient Greece without a brief nod to the role they played in Greek religion and mythology. Join me for a brief journey, beginning with the rape of Persephone by Hades, as recounted by Persephone herself in the Homeric hymn to Demeter, Persephone's mother. As she tells it, Persephone was picking wild flowers in a meadow with her sea nymph friends, the Oceanids. Hemes men malapasai an himerton lemona. We were, all of us, going along the lovely meadow, and then she names all the Oceanids. Paesdomen ed ansa drepomen keres eroenta. We were playing and gathering lovely flowers in our hands. Migna crocontaganon kai agalidas ed Hyacinthon, kai rodaas kalukas kai leria, tauma idestai. Narcisson thon epus hosper kokon eurea thon. An assortment of delicate crocus, iris, and hyacinth, rosebuds and lilies, a wonder to behold, and the narcissus, which is grown, like the crocus, by the wide earth. Autar ego drepomen perikarmati, Gaia denertha koresen, ted ekthor anax krateros poludegbon. I was joyfully gathering the flowers, and then the earth beneath me gave way, and there it was that he sprang out, the powerful Lord who receives many guests. Bede peon hypogaian en harmasi cruceoisi, pola ekasdomenen, eboesa da orthia pone. Tautatoi ac numene per aletha apant agoreo. He took me away under the earth in his golden chariot. It was very much against my will. I cried with a piercing voice. These things grieving, I tell you, and they are all true. One thing there's no denying in Greek myths. When a god wanted sex, no did not mean no. In her anger, Persephone's mother Demeter caused the earth to be barren of plants, until a deal was struck allowing Persephone to return to earth. But since Hades tricked Persephone into eating pomegranate seeds while still in the underworld, she was compelled to spend the winter months underground as Hades' consort. And we can pick flowers from Persephone's bouquet to sample a few other myths. By the way, for a comprehensive enumeration of plants in Greek myth, check out the Theoi Project's website, www.theoi.com/flora1.html. Who was Adonis? Like many aspects of Greek cult and myth, the Greeks seem to have borrowed Adonis from the ancient Near East. But to keep things really simple and superficial, sort of like Ovid, who is a primary source for many of these tales, let's just say Adonis was an exceptionally beautiful young man, a mortal, whom Aphrodite was madly in love with. Aphrodite had a premonition and didn't want Adonis to go hunting one particular day, as depicted in this painting by Titian, but he did so anyway and was killed by a wild boar. From his blood, Aphrodite colored the petals of the Rosa Gallica in Persephone's bouquet, though more often the flower cited is the Anemone coronaria. Narcissus was another young mortal who was both a hunter and known for his exceptional beauty, but he was proud and disdainful. You know the story. The goddess Nemesis attracted him to a pool where he fell in love with his own reflection. Transfixed, he stared at his reflection until he died, and in one version of the story was metamorphosized into the Narcissus poeticus. Coincidentally, there was a French painter in the early 19th century named Pierre Narcisse Guérin. He painted this picture of the Greek gods Morpheus and Iris, and the Greeks named the flower Iris after this rainbow goddess, or was it the other way around? Iris was the daughter of Electra, one of Persephone's Okeanid friends. She serves as a messenger god in the Iliad, like Hermes in the Odyssey. She's married to Zephyrus, the god of the west wind. Speaking of Hermes, he was fond of a mortal youth named Crocus. He accidentally killed Crocus in a game of discus and turned him into the flower called the saffron crocus. That seems to be a variation of the better-known story of Hyacinthus, a beautiful youth from Sparta and beloved of Apollo, who accidentally killed him with a disc, and rather than let him be claimed by Hades, the Anax Polydegmon, he turned him into the flower the Greeks called Hyacinthos. It is claimed that the flower the ancient Greeks called the hyacinth and that Persephone picked for her bouquet is not the flower we call the hyacinth today, but rather the larkspur, though many identifications of ancient plant names must be taken with a grain of salt. In a variation of the myth, the god of the west wind, Zephyrus, also desired Hyacinthus, and out of jealousy blew Apollo's discus off course and killed what he couldn't have. You remember the west wind Zephyrus from when we studied Ta Meteorologi Ka. Zephyrus was married to Iris, but like all the gods, he was a bad boy. Let's close with his connection to Flora, the Roman goddess of flowers, beautifully painted here by the masters Botticelli, Bruegel, and Rubens. Zephyr and Bruegel and Rubens' representation looks like a cherub, but unfortunately he wasn't so in real life. Just as Demeter was abducted by Hades before becoming his consort, Flora was raped by Zephyrus before becoming his, though according to her it turned out all right. Most of you have heard of Ovid's Metamorphoses, which is an important source of ancient myths. Equally important, though more obscure, is Ovid's work on the Roman calendar, the Fasti. In the Fasti, Ovid tells the story of the annual games and festivals month to month on the Roman calendar. Roman religion is something of a mystery. Some of the festivals, while having origins and sacred cult and rituals too ancient for either the Romans themselves or for us to understand, were in their conduct quite lewd, as was the case with the Floralia in honor of Flora. In the Fasti, it was on the occasion of the Floralia, which began April 28th, ante diem quartum calendas Maias, that Ovid invokes Flora. Mater ades florum, ludis celebranda jocosis. Mother of the flowers, approach, so we can honor you with joyful games. Ipsa doce quae sis, hominum sententia fallax. Optima tu proprii nominis auctor eris. Sic ego, sic nostris respondit diva rogatis, dum loquitur vernas efflat ab ore rosas. Tell me yourself who you are, men's opinions err. You'll be the best informant regarding your own name. So I spoke, so the goddess responded to my question. While she spoke, her lips breathed out vernal roses. Chloris eram, quae flora vocor, corrupta Latino nominis est nostri littera Graeca sono. Chloris eram, numfe campi felic, ubi audis rem fortunatis ante fuisse viris. I, called Flora now, was Chloris. The first letter in Greek of my name became corrupted in the Latin language. I was Chloris, a nymph of those happy fields where, as you've heard, fortunate men once lived. Quae fuerit mihi forma, grau est narrare modestae, sed generum matri reperit illa deum. Where erat, erabam, Zephyrus conspexit, abibam, insequitur, fugio, fortior ille fuit. It would be difficult to speak of my form with modesty, but it brought my mother a god as son-in-law. It was spring. I wandered. Zephyrus saw me. I left. He followed me. I fled. He was the stronger. Et dederat fratri Boreas ius omne rapinae ausus erecthea praemia fere domo. And Boreas had given his brother authority for rape by daring to steal a prize from Erechtheus's house. And this refers to Boreas's rape of Oreithuia, the daughter of King Erechtheus of Athens. Vim tamen emendat dando mehi nomina nuptae, inque meo non est ulla querella toro. Yet he made amends for his violence by granting me the name of bride, and I have nothing to complain of in the marriage bed. Est mihi fecundus dotalibus hortus in agris, aura fovet liquidae fonte regatur aquae. Hunc meus implevit generosa flore maritus, atqua it arbitrium tu dea flores habe. I have a fruitful garden in the fields that were my dower, fanned by the breeze and watered by a flowing spring. My husband stocked it with flowers richly, and said, Goddess, be mistress of the flowers. Saep ego digestos volui numerare colores, nec potui numero copia maior erat. I often wished to tally the colors set there, but I couldn't. There were too many to count. Roscida cum primum foliis excursa pruinast et vadae radiis intepuera comae, conveniunt pictis in cinctae vestibus horae, inque leves calathos munera nostra legunt. Protenus ac cedunt carates, nec tunque coronas certaque caelestes implicatura comas. As soon as the frosted dew is shaken from the leaves, and the varied foliage warmed by the sun's rays, the hours gather dressed in colorful clothes and collect my gifts in slender baskets. The Graces straightway draw near and twine wreaths and garlands to bind their heavenly hair. Prima per immensa sparsi nova semina gentes, unius tellus ante colores erat. I was first to scatter fresh seeds among countless peoples. Till then the earth had been a single color. Prima therapnaeo feci de sanguine florem, et manet in folio scripta querella suo. I was first to create from Therapnian blood a flower, and a lament remains written on its petals. Therapnian blood is Spartan blood, and this refers to Hyacinthus. Tu quoque nomen habes cultos narcisse per hortos, in felix quod non alter et alter eras. You too, Narcissus, were known among the cultivated gardens, unhappy that you were not other, and yet were other. Quid crocon aut atin referam cinuraque creatum, de quorum per me vulnere surget honor. Why tell of Crocus or Attis, or the son of Cinyras? The son of Cinyras is Adonis, from whose wounds renown springs through me. This brings us full circle. Flora, a Roman nymph of the fields, takes credit for the flowers the Greek goddess Persephone plucked from the meadow, the prelude in both cases to their abduction. The hyacinth, the narcissus, the crocus, the flowers from Adonis's blood. Who do you think is Ovid's muse?